If you're tired of your vibrato sounding subpar, I think this might be the video for you. So what makes good vibrato? What makes vibrato good? There are a few potential answers to this, but to be honest, I think it's just about consistency. So here I'm going to play some vibrato from two different players. We've got Brandon Ellis from the Black Dahlia Murder, super heavy metal band, and then Guthrie Govan, guitar player extraordinaire, you can play pretty much everything. You're going to hear they have very different styles of vibrato. Both equally valid. I personally prefer Guthrie's kind of sound, but that's just me. And you'll see, though they're both very different, they both sound good. And so we need to figure out why, and then we'll talk about how to fix that or how to make that work for you. Here's Brandon Ellis. And here's Guthrie Govan. Guthrie's is much faster, Brandon's is much wider, kind of slower. But what they both have in common is consistency, meaning that they're happening at the same kind of speed and the distance that the string moves with each little bend is the same every time. Now here's the thing I think most people sort of miss. Before we get into things, if you like this lesson and you like how I teach, I offer online guitar mentorship. So you send in your questions, clips of your playing, all of that good stuff, and I'll get back to you within 24 hours with a tailored response. It's £69 a month, and for that you have 24 access to me. So if you like my teaching and you'd like to learn more from me, click the link in the description. Anyway, on to the lesson. Now here's the thing that I think most people tend to miss. You can practice vibrato to a metronome. I'm going to set mine to 100. One click is going to be for the resting note, so the string, just no tension, flat. And the other is going to be for the bent note. So we're going to go click, 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 click. Notice there's a good amount of urgency in those bends. It's not like a sort of wavy thing. Or going, it's like a up, down, up, down. It's quite fast. You can hear a very definite movement there. So let's do that. And we just speed that up. I'm going to speed that up quite a bit. I'm going to go to about 150. Not too difficult. If you struggle with that, you might just need to practice it a bit slower, and you might maybe need to build this up in smaller increments. We're going to go to 200. We're going to get some pretty high tempos here. We'll talk about how to fix that. Again, pretty manageable. Let's just hear that on its own without the metronome. Still a little slow for vibrato, but it's not sounding too bad now. Try 300 BPM. So if your metronome doesn't go that high, we'll talk about how to fix that. Without the metronome. Still a tad slow, but yeah, let's try 400. Again, getting to really high numbers here. We don't have to go to 400. If your metronome can't, we'll fix that. Try it without the metronome. Sounds about right. Now, if your metronome doesn't get up to 400 BPM, we can fix that. I'd recommend this app called Metronome Beats. I'll drop a link in the description. What we can do, mine is set to 100 BPM at the moment, but where it says clicks per beat in the middle, I'm going to put that on 2. So instead of clicking once per beat, it's going to click twice. We could do it 4 times per beat, 4 clicks per beat. That would be the equivalent of 400 BPM. Other apps do this as well. I just think that Metronome Beats app is quite useful. Now, there's a couple of reasons why this is really useful. Firstly, it's just a measurable way to practice your vibrato. But secondly, it kind of forces you to iron out any inconsistencies in how far you bend. If you need to do it at an even speed, you can't get away with bending really high and then a little bit and then really high again. You need to kind of bend the same amount every time. So it's going to even out the way you play your vibrato. So there's kind of 2 birds with 1 stone here with this practice method. And then all you need to do is just keep working up to this and build it in so that you can do it naturally. And do what I did, turn the metronome off. See, can I just replicate that same speed without the metronome on? So that's how I would practice vibrato. Let's just go through a few essential tips to make sure your actual technique is doing what it should be doing so that you can practice this properly. So first off, vibrato depth. I noticed that people with shaky or not great vibrato, they tend to go too far with their bends when the note is just like a normal resting note. So they'll go like that. It sounds a bit silly like that, and it tends to sound a bit inconsistent as well. So maybe go more shallow on that. And actually the opposite happens when people try to add vibrato to their bends. They go the other way, where they get a bit shaky and they sort of don't bend it enough. sounds a little bit, I don't know, uncomfortable. I'd rather hear it bend a bit more. It sounds more energetic like that, and it just, it depends on your style, right? That might not always work, but just sort of a bit of a frame of reference for you. This is a sort of a vocal thing, but pause for a second before you add the vibrato in. So hit the note, then add the vibrato. Singers do this, and it's great because it means that the first thing the listener hears is the actual note, and not a slightly flat version of the note. And if the first thing you do is add vibrato, that might be the first thing that you output from your instrument, which is not necessarily what we want to hear. Make sure you're turning from the wrist, so lock the first finger, that inside of the first finger there where it joins the palm, on the underside of the neck, and the thumb on top. There'll be certain times where you can't do this, maybe if you're bending certain parts of the fretboard it's difficult, but make sure that you want to think about turning a key in a lock. You're turning your wrist like that. So I'm rolling, you can practice this if you need, just roll on the underside of the neck. Lock the thumb on top, so I can't roll very far now. But if I put my finger on the string and pull away, you pull it quite far. You don't need to go that far for vibrato, so. Now the key thing to make that work is you need to make sure there's tension in the fingers. If there's no tension in the fingers, the fingers will wobble around, but the note won't go anywhere. So you need to lock the fingers. You see, I close my hand down. Even if it's just my first finger on there, I've locked my fingers together and I'm turning my wrist. To get more stability, if you can use your second or your third finger for the vibrato, you can put your first and second fingers on the string behind it. I don't advise little finger because it's a much shorter finger, so it's hard to kind of add it in on there, but if you have to, you have to. So yeah, those are my main tips for vibrato. So now you know how to practice it and what to consider when you're practicing it. Like anything else, build up speed, turn the metronome off, see how it sounds. From here, you can start to find your sound a bit. You heard Guthrie Govan, you heard Brandon Ellis, they sound different. You might like that more kind of shaky thing, or you might like that big wide, energetic, kind of slightly crazy sound, or you might want to do a bit of both. Let me know if you have any questions on vibrato, I'll answer them in the comments. Otherwise, please like and subscribe, and check out my mentorship if you're interested in learning from me personally. If you want personalised feedback on your playing, it's the place to go. It's much cheaper than lessons, and you get much more personalised, much more consistent feedback than normal lessons would give you. Also, let me know what else you guys want to learn. There's other techniques that you want to learn about, fire away in the comments. See you all on the next one.